Gore Vidal famously said that style is knowing who you are, what you want to say, and not giving a damn. That's true in fashion, it's true in web design, and quite frankly, it's true in marketing as a whole. But here's the problem. 80% of business websites I estimate today look like they were stitched together using outdated, templated, cookie cutter like designs from an old WordPress template. And I can tell you, in today's marketing landscape, if your website blends in, then it's dead on arrival. In fact, it is far riskier to play it safe and blend in rather than take a risk and try and stand out. In this video, I'm gonna break down these key essentials that every single stylish website nails. And if you're finding as you watch this video that your website is missing the mark on most of these, then it's almost certainly time for a redesign. What's up everyone? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Bailey Canning. I'm an independent full stack marketing strategist working in Denver, Colorado, primarily working with my clients on branding, web design and development projects, and ongoing marketing retainers. Now, the design of your website, or in this case, the style, is important because this is going to visually communicate how your company is positioned in the market, the types of clients or customers you're looking to attract, if your product or service is going to be positioned as a premium product, a mid-level approachable one, or something that is very budget level. All of this is going to be communicated in seconds based on the visual design of your website. The first key element you need for a stylish website is going to have a striking color scheme. This doesn't necessarily mean it needs to be a bold color scheme, but it needs to be a color scheme that catches people's attention, whether that's in a maximalist or minimalist way. It needs to all go together. All the colors need to be complementary. And it just needs to signal right away exactly what your brand is all about. This is key, not just because of the underlying psychology every single different color communicates, but also it's what's going to set the tone for the entire experience. And I would argue it's the colors that are what people are going to immediately notice once your website loads. So you want a striking color palette, doesn't need to be more than 2 or 3 colors, that communicates your brand values, the target audience you're looking to reach, and how you're positioning your services within the local market. And this is going to allow you to stand out from the second your website loads. The second essential element you need to focus on in order to have a stylish website is to be the typography. And honestly, it's not just me saying this, but if you look back into the history of Apple, Steve Jobs was always paying an inordinate amount of attention to the fonts that every single Apple product and piece of software shipped with, because he understood how much the typography affects the overall design presentation, whether we're talking about physical products or digital software. Typography sets the tone automatically. It's basically the difference between having a generic off-the-rack suit versus a tailored, well-fitting suit. And it doesn't need to take a lot of time or attention. All I recommend you do here is ditch the standard Google fonts that are going to be visible on the majority of websites out there and pick a nice, unique, custom font. I recommend checking out the Adobe font library for this. Honestly, having a well-designed font is going to be the easiest way that you can add extra design value to your website. The next thing every single stylish website nails is going to be the use of background textures and other design elements. This is essential because immediately by having different background textures, number one, you're going to add some depth and character to the website. But secondly, and perhaps most importantly, it's going to automatically communicate from the start that this is not just some sort of templated theme that you customize and then called it a day. Because most templated websites don't include textures or background elements like this. Think like marble textures, stone textures, linen textures, patterns, geometrics, things of that nature. This is going to be very dependent on the type of business you are and the market you serve. You're going to want some sort of background texture that really goes hand in hand with what exactly your company does. Now, you definitely don't want to overdo it here. If you do overdo it, your website is going to look very early 2000s, which we certainly don't want for you. What I recommend doing is that it needs to be very subtle. When it comes to the background textures, restrained is the name of the game here. If, as you're watching this video, you're starting to come to the realization that your website is missing the mark on most of these design elements, then it's almost certainly time for a redesign. So if you would like my help not just with potentially redesigning your website, but also revisiting its brand strategy as a whole, and then also discussing post-website launch, how are we going to actually get traffic to the website to generate leads and sales and grow revenue, then I invite you to schedule a complimentary strategy call with myself. Link in the description of the video. It takes about 5 minutes to fill out and will give me all the essential info I need. And if you're a good fit, you can book a time with me directly on my calendar. Now, let's get back into the video. The next thing every single stylish website is going to have is going to be interactions and effects that are done in a tasteful, playful manner. This is huge because by actually adding some motion to your website, you're going to automatically be able to add a premium design and feel to the site that's going to really stand out. It's going to show people that your company cares about how it presents itself online, and it's just going to lend to a much more premium experience. Micro interactions such as hover effects, parallax scrolls, and different sorts of animations as elements come into the screen are what's going to bring your website to life. Now, you don't want to overdo it. Again, it's important to be subtle here. If you overdo it, the website's going to look like a theme park ride. Think of the animations like accessories in fashion, whether that be a knit tie or a pocket square. Less is more here, and you don't want to overdo it because then the whole thing just starts to look a bit ridiculous. But when done tastefully, they pull the entire look together. The next thing I have to talk about here is going to be high quality photography. So honestly, if you're using stock generic looking photography, and believe me, you're not fooling anyone, we can all tell when it's stock and fake and staged, then you're just shooting yourself in the foot, quite frankly. Honestly, what could be even worse than that, and I'm starting to see a lot of it, is going to be using AI images. Not to say it can't be done well or tastefully, but when it's super obvious that it's AI, it has that little sheen to it, then honestly, that's just as bad, if not worse, than stock photography. What I recommend you do here is actually invest in hiring a professional photographer. Doesn't need to cost an arm and a leg. It can actually be found very reasonably. And whether we're talking about team bio photos or just background photos of your team in the office working or your office, or even if, for example, you're an architect, spend the money to get your projects professionally photographed. It's going to make a difference, and people can tell right away. By having fantastic photography, this is what's going to pull together all the other elements I'm talking about, like the color scheme, the fonts, the animations and effects, the textures. You could have all of that 100% nailed, but then if you throw up some stock photographs, you're going to shoot yourself in the foot. So invest in proper photography. It's going to make a huge difference, and you can use these photos for years to come. The level of photography you ultimately employ is going to be the difference between a cheap, generic-looking website and a premium online presence. All right, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thought it was a cool concept. Let me know what you think in the comments below. But the key here, going back to that original Gore Vidal quote of knowing who you are, what you want to say, and not giving a damn what anyone else has to say about it, that is key, not just in the design of your website, but in your entire marketing strategy as a whole. Because the first part, knowing who you are, that's the brand strategy. So before you can design a website, you need to take a step back and actually map out a clear brand identity. That's going to be discussing who you are, what you want to say, who you're communicating with, all the brand strategy fundamentals. I've done a recent video on that in the past. Then once you actually know who you are, then you need to actually communicate that. So that is you actually saying who you are. That's going to be the visual design of your website. And then not giving a damn, that just comes down to the fact that you can't be afraid to stand out in the business landscape here. And ultimately, that's what's going to actually allow you to generate leads and sales, because like I said in the intro, it's risky to play it safe and to try and blend in. It's actually much safer to play it risky and be willing to take a chance and be willing to stand out, because yes, while you're going to turn off a certain segment of the market, the ones that your message resonates with are going to love your message, and they're not even going to consider other options in the marketplace. So hopefully you liked the video. I will see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Bye.